Hey guys, so this may be a potentially controversial video. As you can see, I have a cat carrier. Well, this is actually a dog carrier, but I put my cats in there. It actually smells like pee because I took my cats to the vet yesterday and Pumpkin got nervous, I guess, and peed. So I really should take this out of my car because it does kind of have a familiar smell that I don't want to smell. Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a controversial video because of the title. I don't know what title I actually will end up putting. I'm hoping I can put S's for stupid, but I know that might not fly with YouTube, so we'll see what happens. So it's a bit of a clickbaity video in the sense that I don't think S is for stupid, and this is in regards to sensors, especially in MBTI, Socionics. Being a sensory lead or having it as your second function, having that as something that you that's your frame of looking at the world, people, when they get into typology, they will look into personalities, and many people, even sensors, will mistype as intuitives, and doesn't matter, like, people just mistype in general on those tests. Like, it's just, there's so many flaws with the Myers-Briggs personality tests. So many people mistype. I mistyped as an INFJ for the longest time. I'm an INFJ. But besides the point, when you first get into typology, even as a sensor, if you type as an intuitive and then you start looking up information about sensors or intuitives or whatever, you're going to find a very drastic leaning towards intuitives being the more favorable types of people or personalities. Like, intuitives are the intellectuals, intuitives are the smart people, intuitives are, you know, fill in the blank. That is completely not the truth all the time, and also it's really discrediting sensors. Yes, the majority of the world are sensors, but if you look at the statistics, which I really don't like the statistics because I find statistics to be very flawed, because obviously they're not looking at every single person, they're doing a somewhat small pool of people. But if you look at the statistics, let's pretend the statistics are correct. You're gonna see that I think ISFJs are the most prevalent, and I think it's followed by ESFJs, but you'll also notice that there are intuitives that are more common, so to speak, than some of the sensors. Like, I'm not sure if this is right, but I'm thinking that ISTPs are one of the rare sensors, or like rare types in general, and so like maybe, like, again, this might be off, maybe ENFPs are more common than ISTPs. So that's one thing that's like kind of a weird thing that people associate with intuitives and sensors. They're like, oh, I want to be special, so I'm an intuitive. And just because you're an intuitive doesn't mean that you're intelligent, doesn't mean that you are more gifted than other people. Yes, intuitives have certain strengths, but this just, intuition versus sensing does not determine someone's intelligence. Yes, there might be statistically more people with higher IQs in a certain personality type than others, but even at that is a completely flawed way of seeing things. And don't get me wrong, the reason why I'm making this is because, and I try not to be this way, I think most people don't try to be like judgmental or something, but as someone that has been on this typology journey, personality journey for quite a while, I was first introduced to this when I was about 16, which isn't super young, but it's also not like older. It's been a while. I'm 25, so it's been almost 10 years since I've known about this stuff. So I've, dabbled in different things along the way, as far as personality stuff goes. And when I first was typed, again, I was mistyped as an ENFJ, but it's very similar to INFJ, but that's beside the point. My sister, who I believe is an ISTJ, she may not be. She's definitely not an intuitive type, and I will get to that in a moment, but either way, she typed as INTp. Now, INTPs are awesome people. They're, everybody has their flaws, everybody has their strengths. There's good and bad INTPs, whatever. But when I first got into this typology journey, I thought, oh yeah, this makes sense because my sister is very deep. She has a lot of things going on in her head. She's intelligent. This makes sense that she would be typing as INTp. But as this journey kind of progressed and I looked more into it, looking at other people, I would find myself kind of judging people in a way if they typed as a sensor versus an intuitive. And this is not good because, again, a lot of people mistype, and also just because someone types as a sensor doesn't mean they're stupid. S is not really for stupid, even though people like to associate sensors with stupid. I really want to stop this stigma because sensors, some of the sensors that I know are some of the most intelligent people. I know a lot of sensors, and just like maybe you might be watching this. You may think that you're an intuitive and actually be a sensor. I know some people have said that some people said that I'm an ISFP. That's not right, or correct, should I say, just cognitively. But if I was an ISFP, I wouldn't feel bad about it because I think ISFPs are really intelligent people in different ways than maybe an INFJ. They have different strengths. My mom is an ISFP, for example, and she is very street smart, and she's also smart, like, intellectually as well, but she has other strengths than, say, an INTJ or an ENTJ or someone that's an intuitive person, or they value that in their first or second function. Sorry, this is turning kind of into a rant, but I really want to drive this point home that really, I don't care what personality you are. Just because you type as an intuitive, first of all, that doesn't mean that you actually are an intuitive. Second of all, if you are an intuitive, it doesn't mean that you're smarter than a sensor. Some of the smartest people in history were sensors. Because there's a higher population of sensors, there's also a lot more famous people, or whatever you want to say, that are sensors. For example, Winston Churchill was a sensor. I can't think of any other people, but there's many people out there. And even people that you may not like. For example, I think that our current president is a censor. And I don't, I'm not aligned with his views. But that doesn't mean that I don't see that he has intelligence in ways that, maybe aren't seen as conventional intelligence, but he's not a stupid person. Also, the Kardashians. Not all of the Kardashians are censors, but for example, Kim Kardashian, I think she's an ISFJ, if I'm not mistaken. But she, to me, and again, I'm not for or against the Kardashians, I just don't keep up with them and I don't really care. Again, it's nothing against them, but, to build such a business, or even like Kylie Jenner, I'm pretty sure Kylie Jenner is an ESFP. She has built a platform. She is a billionaire at 21, and yes, she had help. Yes, there, you can say whatever, but I don't care who you are. Like, you have to have some level of intelligence to be able to do that. Even have the ability to delegate to other people. And you know, many scientists are sensors, many philosophers are sensors, many, you know, just because you're a sensor doesn't mean that you're like this, like, I'm going to the gym and like partying and, you know, going back and whatever. Like, it's okay if you do. And intuitives, on the same note, doesn't mean intuitives go out and like, I mean, I've been out and partied. You know, I have a good time. I do sensory activities, just like other people. Maybe I don't do it as much as maybe someone that leads with extroverted sensing, like an ESTP or an ESFP, but it also doesn't mean that those people are always out partying, going to the gym, and they only care about, you know, appearances and surface level things. That's another thing. People think that sensors are just concerned with the surface, and that's not true. You know, there might be certain personalities that aren't as inclined to talk about certain subjects, but just because they individually don't like talking about those subjects, or they're just not comfortable with that, you know, I personally believe that every single personality is equal in some extent. Yes, we have different strengths, so we might be better in certain ways. Yes, there might be personalities that are more favorable than others as far as like who people generally like or dislike, but there are qualities in each personality that are both good and bad. And personally, what I think is more important than if you're a sensor or an intuitive is how you use that information. How you use, like, if you find out, for example, if I found out today that, you know, I'm not an INFJ, I've been mistyped, and I found out that I was, let's say, an ISFJ, for example, you know, knowing that, I would look at that instead of seeing, oh, I'm an ISFJ and just like being at that. I would want to try to develop myself and look at the things that, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, and what do I need to improve. And to me, if you're able to take this kind of personality stuff, whatever you think about like Myers-Briggs or Socionics or Enneagram, whatever that is, personally, I think what you need to do is not be so concerned with whether you're intuitive or sensing, because that's bullshit to me. Like, who the heck cares about that? Like, at the end of the day, you need to use it as a tool to try to improve yourself. I have a meetup, and I will actually link my meetup down below if anybody's interested or in the area. And I'll link down the Facebook that I have associated with it, because I want to try to like have discussions on there as well. But for example, last week, you know, I did a introduction to personality theory, and we sat around the table, and yes, there were mostly people that typed as intuitive types, but there was also like an ISTP, an ESTP, and you know, one of the people that made the biggest impressions on me, even though like I really loved everybody that came and they were all very interesting, was the ESTP. And he's like this, I mean, I personally think he's a genius, just from talking with him. He's like a quantum physicist, and talking about quantum mechanics and the way that the mind works and all of this stuff. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what he was saying. And we're actually going to have discussions, and I actually have made, you know, certain people, different personalities, leaders of this group, because I know that I can always improve myself, and I'm always looking to try to improve myself and work on my weak and strong points. And there are people that think differently than me. Just like you, there's people out there that you have to deal with on a regular basis that are going to think differently, but also create more value in your life by listening to the different perspectives and actually trying to implement positive changes in your life. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I could talk more about this subject, but I really want you guys to think about some stuff. first of all, if you have the bias against censors, this is something, you know, it's natural. Even censors have bias against censors if they're mistyped. Again, most people, well, not most people, but a lot of people will mistype as intuitive. And this is not necessarily good or bad, but it does say something. If you're a censor that mistyped as an intuitive, that's just basically saying that you're a well-rounded person, in the sense that you are a censor, in the sense that you're more in tune with the physical world, what's happening in the present, different things, and it depends on what your cognitive functions are. But you also are open-minded and have, you know, you want to explore different ideas, and you're not just wanting to party and go out there and do what the stereotypical censor thing is. Because really, I don't know of one person out there that is all about partying or doing that kind of stuff. Like, and that's the only thing they do. I have found with most people, if not all people, whether you get along with them personality-wise or not, you're going to find that people are a lot deeper than what you may see on the surface. And maybe some censor types will present themselves as a little bit more surface level at first. But when you get to the core of certain people, and again, you may not see this with everybody, and you may have to have like a certain personality to bring this out in whatever individual, you're going to find that people are way more complex than just 4 different letters. And this is really something that needs to be talked about and just stamped out completely. So if you are a censor, you are awesome. If you are an intuitive, you are awesome. You are not less intelligent or more intelligent because you're a censor or because you're an intuitive. And let's just like lift each other up and just like bring awareness to this, because we need to just try to develop ourselves and try to be the best versions of ourselves, whatever that looks like for you. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you in my next video. And if you like this video, please like it. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe. And again, I will link down below my group, my meetup group is the Thought Provokers. And I will put that, it's not just about personality theory, we do other stuff as well. And I also link down below the Thought Provokers Facebook page. There's not much on there right now, I just started it, so if you want to start discussions on there, even if you can't come to the meetups, even if you're not in South Carolina, and you just want to kind of talk on a different platform than Facebook, than YouTube, and you want to talk on Facebook or something, go ahead. And yeah, if you have any questions or if you have any requests, let me know as well. All right, have a great day. Bye.